My name is Ron Benner. I'm an independent visual artist. The garden behind me was put in play by Melanie Townsend. Melanie asked me if I would do a garden installation on the grounds of Museum London. And so in 2005, I looked around the grounds, and behind me was a derelict concrete structure that used to be a reflecting pool. When she asked me, I said, well, why don't you just give me the pond or this pool, and I'll do something around it. So the piece is about water, and it's the images are like in a pool of water, but instead of a reflecting pool, I turned it into a swamp, where the north end of the swamp has native water plants to this area, and then as the farther south you go in the pond or the swamp, they become more and more tropical. If you want to come into the pond, come on in. Plants have their own ideas about where they want to go. So this plant is not native to Canada. This plant is native to Peru. In the fall, I have to get them out, otherwise they rot and yeah. And then when you get too much plant material, then you get algae buildup, but that's all right. This is just one little section. And this has a function too, you could eat it. So what I did was I chose a work that I had done between 1984 and 1991 called As the Crow Flies, and where one segment of that work looked at what's due south of London, Ontario, where you hit water. So when you go south from London, the first place you hit is Port Stanley, and then the next place, Cape Sable, looking out at the strait between where the Gulf of Mexico enters into the Atlantic Ocean. Then the Bay of Pigs, Cuba, looking out at the Caribbean Sea. And then Puerto Mutis, Panama, looking south out into the Pacific Ocean. And then finally Talara, Punta Pereñas, Peru, looking out at the Pacific Ocean. Come on down here. So from where we're standing, yeah, you can actually follow the longitude due south from London, and you can see every place that I went to back in the 80s. Over the past 14 years, I keep adding things. For instance, there's plant identification markers that I added last year. And I always make sure that within the information of each marker, identifying each specific variety, species, is not only where the plant originated, and they're all native to the Americas here, but I also put their economic value, because most plants have an economic value. So it can be medicinal, it could be a food crop, it could be aesthetic, and I think that's really important. Like, the aesthetic value has an economic value. We plant ornamentals, as we call them, and all our ornamentals here are native to the Americas. And they've been grown, again, by First Nations farmers for thousands of years. Originally, the idea was that the plants at the north end here would be native to Canada, and some of them are. The Christmas ferns native to here. What's this one? This is blue false indigo, native to this area. Look at this one. So here, the squash.
Oh, yeah.
And so this year, the squashes, it's the year of the squash. Normally there's corn here growing, but the corn got hidden by the squash. That's all right. So as we go south here, we're looking at amaranth sunflowers, which are native to North America. Chili peppers, this is jalapeno, native to Mexico. Tomatoes are native to both Mexico and Peru. Almost everything's edible.
Okay.
Yeah. You can eat it or it'll poison you.
Okay.
And they both have value. And if you look at the purple water lily, there's a frog there.
Oh, sweet.
And that lily is called Panama Pacific. it took 9 years for frogs to feel comfortable here.
And the
Yeah.
goldfish,
They're on their own.
really?
Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
do their own thing during winter? And
Yeah, no, the agreement, I had to have some way of controlling mosquitoes. So I had to have goldfish to eat the mosquito larvae. Yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah, and that was the agreement with the city.
No
Yeah,
mosquitoes.
because they didn't want a swamp. Now this is in its 14th year, and the native water lilies have moved on their own south. So they've really taken over, and I let that happen. Nothing's ever secure. You never know what's going to happen with my gardens. So.